Joining us, Dr. Asma Shawkat. Alex was her former research assistant. Also joining us by phone is Alex's neighbor, Susan. I'm going to start with Susan on the phone because you were closest, physically closest to Alex in this moment. And I know you don't want to give us your last name or appear on camera because you're worried about your own safety, which in itself is remarkable and unsettling. But tell us a little bit about what Alex was like only a few days ago.
Well, I would agree with Alex's parents, and I would call him a superhero. What happened to Alex didn't happen to anyone. But I don't want to focus on that. I want to focus on what a beautiful person he was. Alex was a decent human being, and it is very important. That's what people know. And I knew him. He lived in my building. We're both owners in a fourplex in South Minneapolis. He's been here almost 3 years. You couldn't ask for a better neighbor. A kind man, a caring man, willing to step in and help out with chores around the building. Just a wonderful person all around.
Why do you think he was there filming this?
That part, I'm not really sure. I didn't know that Alex was taking part in protests. Alex, one of the things I'd like to stress about him, this was a young man, 37 years old. I'm a senior citizen. And Alex and I would have wonderful conversations talking about just the state of life. It was, for a young man to take time to talk to an older woman, I thought was fantastic. I did not know that he was doing protests, but I know he was socially minded, very aware of what's happening, in our country at this time. Alex, he's a nurse. He's a caregiver. And so all I can assume is that he went there to be a witness. And I can only assume that. I don't know that from him personally.
How do you feel about how he's being described by the federal government? That he's a domestic terrorist?
I don't want to justify those horrible things that they said. I would never repeat those. Those are complete lies, and I don't want any focus on that whatsoever. The only focus should be Alex is a decent human being. And, you hear people all the time when tragedies happen. Oh, they were a wonderful person. That's what people say. But it's the truth. I couldn't say a bad thing about Alex. And, I can't come up with any unique words to describe him, but this is just an overall, all-around good guy. And I don't want to give any time to those negatives.
How is the neighborhood doing right now?
Well, I think it's fine, but I think it's also sad because I feel like I know the couple that live upstairs from me now so much better. We have bonded through this. My other neighbors, we're coming together. People are sharing, concerned. They text me, they call me, they're checking on us. And I think, isn't this sad that it took a tragedy to bring us together like this? But also, what it makes me think is, going forward, I intend to check on my neighbors and be a lot more involved, and caring for other people. But I think the neighborhood is doing the best it can do under these circumstances.
Yeah, they're pretty rough circumstances, and we feel
they're
for you.
They're very rough circumstances. Yes.
Susan, thank you so much for calling in. I wish we could have done it in person or on camera, but I do understand why you're worried. Thank you, though.
Thank you. I'm glad I could say these things about Alex. That was important to me.
I'm glad we got the opportunity. Okay, so Dr. Shawkat, you knew him pretty well.
I did. I hired him for his first job as a research assistant. He was, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and didn't have any experience, but was really earnest. And what really impressed me was how he expressed that he wanted a career in healthcare, and this was just his starting point. And so we took him on, and he did wonderful.
What was he like? What was his demeanor like?
He was quiet, quirky. He would come up with, quips and jokes, but he was a team player. He was always kind, very helpful, and somebody that you could count on. So if there was extra work to be done, extra hours for certain tasks, he would not be shy from volunteering to help. And he did that not just for our group, but around the hospital. He was the kind of person that would hold doors open. He would hold the elevator if somebody was trying to get in at the hospital. If there was a patient wandering the halls or they didn't know where they were headed, he would actually go and ask them, do you know where you're going? Can I help you? And actually try to direct them.
What does it take to be an ICU nurse, especially at the VA? What kind of person does that?
Yeah, so, nursing is a very noble profession. And being an ICU nurse is several notches above, because you're taking care of critically ill patients, and you're dealing with life and death every single moment. There's long hours. It's extremely taxing, both physically and emotionally. And especially taking care of veterans who are a very vulnerable population. They've served our nation, and now it's our turn to take care of them. They have a lot of health challenges as well as mental health and social challenges. So navigating all of those and coming out ahead as a supporter and as a caretaker, it really takes a special person to do that.
Given that's what he dealt with every day, and that's what he had to navigate, especially people who, maybe were not totally well emotionally. When you watch the last moments of his life, as somebody who knew him, as somebody who knows that world, what do you imagine he was trying to do there?
What I see Alex doing is protecting or shielding a woman. He was actually, it appears, helping her. And that's, I think, what he was trained to do. That's what he really was instinctive to him, was coming to the aid of somebody that he thought was vulnerable, required support, required his help. So you see him trying to help the lady and shield her from the officers that were assaulting her. And he gets thrown to the ground and his hands pinned. The other thing the viewers may want to know is Alex was of a slight build. In fact, we were always trying to find, leftover pizza and try to help him eat more. He was not a big guy, so in no way, shape, or form would he be a threatening person. And even in the videos, he's not kicking, he's not fighting back, but laying helpless with his arms pinned to his back.
The administration is trying to paint him one way, trying to argue that he brought this on himself, that he was the aggressor, that he was brandishing a weapon, that he shouldn't show up to a protest holding a gun or having a gun on his body, on his person, even though the same administration has said in the past that's a perfectly fine and lawful thing to do. What do you make of how the administration is so quick to paint him as the bad guy, the villain here?
Knowing the Alex we knew, I see him being at a peaceful protest. He was, again, very vocal, like Susan said also, about our civic responsibility, about being a good citizen, about helping your neighbors and your community. So I see him being at a peaceful protest and helping or coming to the aid of his fellow colleagues or community members. Having a weapon is legal, and it didn't look like he was reaching for it or had any intention of using it or exposing it.
Dr. Shaukat, really good to have you. Thank you so much for coming on and just sharing a little bit about the man you knew and the man you trained and what his personality was like and what he did for a living and how that would have shaped him. I appreciate it. Before we move on, I just want to play one little bit of sound from nurses in Minneapolis talking about remembering Alex.
I just felt the need to come out here and be here for him. And he's been slandered by this group of people that didn't know him. And he's saying he's a domestic terrorist. He was out here because he cared.
Alex was an ICU nurse at the VA. That's one of the toughest jobs in the world, and I'm so grateful to Alex for the care that he provided to his patients, and I am holding his family in my heart right now.